There's something unique about working out here with nature and God's creation. In actuality, we're only a caretaker and a steward of the land, and we can't expect a harvest if we don't plow. Let's say we have to put the work in, and there's just something about seeing your work turn into a product that's going to feed millions of people. Yeah, it's tough and there's hardship in it, but there's usually the bright side of everything, and if you can find that here, it's pretty big. But it's finding the little things that on the hard days that make it worth it.
It's more than just a job. It's a way of life, and it's a way of approaching life and of living life. And so, a lot of farmers will probably say something along the lines of it's a calling from God. It's something that's really deep and spiritual and meaningful. You know, take care of the earth. Like I've given you this earth. You can be stewards of this earth. So there's a certain sense where, yeah, this is something that comes from God. It's something that's spiritual. It's part of what makes us human beings and makes us creatures of God and special creatures of God that are stewards of His creation. So is this the life that God is asking me to live? It's a beautiful life. And if God is asking you to live that way, is this something worth putting my family through? I think, again, if God is wanting you to do it, then to be able to take that leap of faith and trust in God and to say yes to His will is hard no matter what He's going to ask of you.
To me, it's kind of going like every other industry. It's getting bigger or getting small and kind of niche.
Right.
And the middle's kind of getting squeezed out. I was just talking to a guy yesterday and who they have like 3,300 acres and do cash cropping and stuff like that. But he was talking to another guy and he said he figured that 6 farms could produce all the milk that Wisconsin needs. You know, 6 big farms. And that's kind of the direction they would like to see it head or whatever. Well, I called around like last year, and at that time no one was taking anybody. But then I called around again, and Mullins Cheese over here, they said they would take me. So, you know, if we can get started here, will we be milking 30 cows here on a conventional market in 30 years? I don't think so. So we'll have to keep our eyes open and figure something out as we go. That's the one thing I'm not really willing to sacrifice everything so I can farm. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make my wife's life miserable for that. So I hope it can work out. Praying for that, but we'll find out. We're trying to do it in a way where trying to pay for stuff as we go, as much as possible, and trying to go into it with as little debt as possible, other than the cost of the land. So that way, if it doesn't work, if we got to sell the cows, we can get back. You know, I can just go back into the working world or whatever. So there's an escape, keep an escape hatch open.
But a lot of the new things in farming usually come with a price, and to pay for the price, you need to have the size. So if you wanted a nicer barn for the cows, it's pretty hard to justify. If you want a parlor, there's usually a minimum amount of cows you need to justify. And that's where I would say things really got different. I mean, as far as prices of commodities and how we do things, it's different because we need to be more efficient to keep up. That's about it. We'd be more efficient when it's good times, because obviously we want to make more when it's really good, and when it's bad times we have to be efficient, or that's the writing on the wall's coming pretty quick.
What if this is the new norm? You know, what's our strategic plan if prices don't change? What if these are the new demands that you just have to do? You know, because if we don't change but other farms do to make it work and to get the inputs enough to make a living, you know, or do you have to be 5,000, 10,000 cows in order to make it? Is that a possibility?
I can't tell you exactly, but I bet you when I was younger, it was like a 16,000 pound average per cow. Now it's like 24,000. So I mean, a 50% increase per cow. So if you got the same number of cows, you have 50% more milk. And if America's not growing or consuming any more, if anything, we may shrink. We either got to get rid of it or make less of it. So it's, again, a hard truth.
As we become less and less connected to agriculture, you know, and now we're under 2% of our population produces the food for not only North America, South America, the world. People no longer have a grandpa or a grandma to go to on the farm. Their experience is what they might see on TV or they see on Facebook. There's times where I know that the husband's been outside. Now we have such separated families, because the wife, when I first started this business, the husband and wife were in the barn together all the time. The kids held the bottles to feed the calves. Everybody talked. You're all done. Now you're going to go eat supper together. It all worked. One of the really, really tragic things that started this many years ago was a dad with a handicapped son, and he had finally passed away. And I went there for Herd Health. He was standing very quietly by the cow, and I looked at him and I said, "How are you doing? How are you feeling?" And he broke into tears crying, and he said, "You're the first person that has asked me how I feel."